You're tuned in to Wrestling with Weight with your hosts, Sam Amato and Mike Body. Podcasting to help you win the biggest match of your life. It's you versus you. Tips, stories, and more from the world of health and professional wrestling. Ring the bell.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the latest episode of Wrestling with Weight. I am one half of your co-host, Sandy Smiles.
And I am Mike the Body.
Hello, Michael.
What's up, Sam, buddy? How you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Not too bad. Hanging in there. Just got out of work. About to record some podcast.
You wanted to open up the show with the Michael Buffer style intro and then backed out. Why?
Because we just did the Fink on the last episode. So this episode, I wasn't sure if the fans were ready for some Degeneration X material yet.
Okay. I think they're ready. I think they just heard me, and now
they want
give
some?
them the pleasure.
Now they want some?
Give them all the pleasure, Michael.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Degeneration X proudly brings to you its WWF Tag Team Champions of the World,
The Road Dogg, Jesse James.
the Badass Billy Gunn, the New Age Outlaws.
Michael,
What's up?
I don't know if my neighbors are going to be down with that.
If not, I
You've
got two words.
for them, right?
Right, Sam, buddy.
Welcome to the show. Enough messing around. Mike the Body, tell them what they're in for.
So today we're going to start things off by reviewing our weight loss challenge, the Wrestling with Weight Challenge. To see who becomes the first ever Wrestling with Weight champion. Who's going to be that champ, Sam?
You're looking at him, bro.
All right, we'll see. Tell me what else we got today.
All right. Our second segment, we're going to talk to you a little bit about things that we've experienced in our lives and how they might affect how we're feeling about fitness these days and how we're feeling about self-image. And then we're going to finish up the show with an awesome interview with a 20-plus year friend of mine who's been in the business that much longer as a pro wrestler in the New England area. The Boston bad boy, Jason Rumble, is in the house, and we're going to be talking to him about wrestling and, of course, his fitness love or his love for fitness, however you want to put it.
Yeah, I was excited. It was a great conversation. Let's get things started, Sam. Let's go right into it.
We'll be right back right after these messages.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Farrah the Exterminator here. I'm a local Boston-based pest control company, female-owned and operated. We do it all, commercial, residential. You got insects, you got rodents. Call us, 617-816-5004. We just don't kill people. Check us out at theexterminator.com. That's EXT-herminator.com.
You're listening to Wrestling with Weight. Now back to your hosts, Sam Amato and Mike Body.
Welcome back. Right now, Mike and I are going to put ourselves out there. Not like that. We're married men. But we're going to put ourselves out there. The Wrestling with Weight Challenge, the recap, the very so uneventful recap that is probably going to take us all of 30 seconds to talk about.
Nothing much has happened the past 2 weeks. Actually, I think I'm getting fatter.
Bro, that's not success.
No, I'm just kidding. You know
I'm
what? We
happy
all...
that you're coming to terms with that.
No, we all have ups and downs. That's the biggest thing here. And to be honest with you, my diet, my eating just hasn't been there. It hasn't been that 80-20 rule we talked about before.
Yeah.
It honestly hasn't been 80-20.
But you didn't bomb it, right? So
I maintained.
Yeah. So
that's a win.
That's a W for sure, right? So you found a way to find some balance in your life. For you found like what works for you to stay the same weight, if you want to look at it like that.
Right. I just wish I was 30 pounds lighter.
Oh, of course. But like the way you ate this week can be remodeled or modeled again next week for you to maintain your weight. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So right now, when we're trying to lose weight, we're obviously trying to find meal combinations and sizes being the size of food that we want to take in, the amount of that type of food we want to take in, that is going to be beneficial for us to lose weight and keep muscle on, right? So Mike and I are doing a body fat challenge. So we're not looking to lose just weight, right? Because you can lose weight. Like people go walking and eat healthy and they lose weight, but it's not all guaranteed to be body fat. There's a lot of muscle that you lose in there as well. So what we want to focus on is making sure we're eating high protein in this particular challenge that Mike and I are doing. And I was only down a pound too. So in that essence, we were successful. We just weren't as successful as we wanted to be, right? So we need to manage our food a little bit better.
Well, that's just it. Yeah, during the day, I find myself eating fine. I'm fine during the day. I'm busy. I'm working. I'm active. It's actually nighttime when I'm home. Maybe I'm writing something, working on music or something, and that's when the hunger hits. Maybe maybe some late night munchies. I'm just, in general, that's my weakness. That's my downfall, late night. During the day, I hold it together. Not bad. How about you? How's your eating habits, man?
I would say that I've eaten halfway decent. I didn't do any prep this week. I wasn't prepared. So if you've ever seen my Instagram stories, I boil eggs while I'm here. I make protein shakes while I'm here. I just didn't have all the supplies. And I think I wasn't feeling the meal plan for this week because I didn't have a settled meal plan. So when I do have a settled meal plan, like I have an idea of what I want to eat for the week, I try to eat the same shit every single day. It makes my life easy. I just prepare all of that stuff at the beginning of the week and then some more in the middle of the week if I need to. And if I just follow that, I take all the guesswork out of it and I'm comfortable with what I'm eating. But without having a plan in place, I struggle a lot.
Yeah, well, even the same thing can be kind of repetitive at times. Even though I'm with you,
Facts.
I do the same thing.
It is.
But I will say this. On my Instagram page this past week, I posted, I had to shovel out my school for the snowstorm.
Right.
With shoveling alone, I think that has a lot to do with why I maintain.
How many calories you burn while you're out there working.
Exactly.
It was hours, right?
Hours. Yes. I had to shovel myself out and my school. Right. Yeah. So with that said, shoveling alone is great exercise. So even though I was eating like shit, I was able to kind of offset it with all that shoveling I was doing.
As a trainer, I've heard that phrase a lot.
What? Shoveling is good exercise?
No. Yeah, okay. The kids don't even want to do that shit these days.
I know.
The phrase where people talk about working out just so they can eat. Oh, I work out just so I can eat. So if that's what's working for you, that's what's working for you. But you and I are in a challenge right now. We're going to step our game up. We're going to have some more positive stuff to talk about next episode, and we will definitely have some success stories that we can talk about.
All right, well, we'll take it from here. We'll be right back with our next segment in a minute after these ads.
Hey guys, it's Sammy Smiles from the Wrestling with Weight podcast. I'm here to let you know that you're not alone. Weight loss, fitness goals, they're not easy. If you have goals in mind and not sure where to start, then hit me up. I run a personal training studio in Everett. We run group fitness, personal training, in person and online. For more information, visit me on Instagram and on Facebook at WayBetterU. It's WeighBetteru, as in the letter U. Or you can find me at my website at waybetteru.com.
You're listening to Wrestling with Weight. Now back to your hosts, Sam Amato and Mike Body.
Welcome back. This is the Wrestling with Weight podcast. Our next segment, Mike, we're going to talk a little bit about feelings. We're going to talk about moments in life that have marked us one way or another. And we're just giving people a little insight on what has motivated us to get into this situation where we decided a podcast about health and wellness was important, why two dads thought coming together to talk about health and wellness was important, and why two wrestling fans thought, why don't we just mix those two things together and come up with the Wrestling with Weight podcast. So, Mike, why don't you get things started? Let people know why you are who you are or what's going on in your mind today.
Yeah, no, 100%. So what happened was, ever since a young age, I've always kind of dealt with being overweight, kind of chubby in my younger years. And it all started, I lost my father when I was 9 years old. And after that, I always thought I was going to die young. My father was never overweight. He just had a heart attack. That gave me anxiety afterwards, kind of, just always thinking something was going to happen to my mother or I was going to lose somebody again. So from there, that anxiety, I just coped with it with food. Like, food became my best friend, and I just ate. I was never really heavy until I was older, probably in my 20s. I was the heaviest I've ever been.
Where'd you carry your weight?
My chin and my stomach.
So you were all belly?
All belly mostly. Even now today, I'm fine. It's just my belly sticks out a little more, Well, it is what it is, I guess.
I hear you.
But so with that said, I just, ever since a young age, I always was eating. I didn't really realize I was overweight or unhealthy until I started playing youth sports. And maybe I wasn't the fastest kid running to first base.
Roadblock.
Yeah, a line drive to the outfield should have been a single. Maybe I was out. But so that's where that started. And also, your self-esteem. Your self-esteem issues, just as far as getting the girls and stuff like that, going into 7th, 8th grade, and you're not the football fucking stud.
Hello, ladies.
Hello, ladies.
Little Val Venus reference.
Yeah, I love it. But, so that's where I was at, and it's just been a struggle ever since, really, just going up and down with my weight, and it's just something I'm going to battle the rest of my life.
How do you think that has changed? Or even it's probably not even changed because you've already changed at a very young age. But how does that make you view how you parent? Like, are you a strict dad about food and things like that? Do you guys talk about health in the house?
So when I am on a diet, like now, eating in the house just becomes healthier. Everyone's on the same page.
We talked about this. We said this was going to happen before we started the challenge, right?
Right. It just motivates everybody. Kind of. And if you hold it well and you carry it well, you can motivate a lot of people just to change their life, change their lifestyle.
Absolutely.
And that's actually what we're hoping to do and accomplish with this podcast. That's why we came together, and, we love wrestling. We love being fatties. We gotta lose the weight. And listen, everybody, I joke around when I say fatties and stuff like that. I am just joking around. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings.
I
I'm
feel
kidding.
a little offended at the moment.
I know,
but
I'm a chubster.
I'm not gonna take it to heart here.
I hear you, Sam. But listen, give me a story that you had.
Listen,
when you were younger, that maybe made you feel that you were overweight or your self-esteem wasn't there.
I'm gonna tell you that I didn't have the balls to talk to a lot of girls until like high school, in the sense of flirting, right? I had never had any problem talking to people, and I will say that my personality saved me from being like a typical fat kid that feels like an outsider or feels like a kid who's getting picked on and shit. I saw that shit happen, right?
You're very always outgoing.
Yeah. So that helped me out a lot. And I think this ADHD obviously plays a role in my personality and how I react to things and how I behave. I was never over the top, out of bounds, kind of weird, where people think it's weird. I was just kind of chill. I loved wrestling. I loved music, and I wasn't afraid to go and talk to everybody, right? So I got lucky in that sense. That doesn't mean that shit didn't happen to me, right? I remember this time I went to this, my elementary school was the center school. It's now the Whittier. And there was this little blonde-haired girl who came from Kansas. Her name happened to be Candace, and she would fall asleep while we were in class, and she would be drooling all over her arm straight like a dog, dude. But that's not my place to say anything. But one day...
So now Candace works at the Golden Banana. No, sorry, Candace.
Give it up for Candace. Long story short, I don't know what I did, but I pissed her off one day in the hallway, and she looked at me, and she made fun of me over my tight-ass sweatpants, bro. Now, my mom and dad always took care of us. We always went to school clean. I wouldn't say that we always went to school fresh, right? But I never was, embarrassed. But this particular moment, she made me kind of question my feelings about self-esteem and how I felt about myself because she made fun of my goddamn sweatpants.
Yeah, 100%. What are they, size too small?
Bro, they were just a little snug. If I remember, maybe they were green. But you're a
what are you
going
to do? What grade were you in?
Elementary school.
Yeah, what are you going to do, man?
So, but she's like, I've never seen you in jeans. Like, why don't you ever wear jeans? You
So
only wear
that hit home.
sweatpants. Because you can't find jeans that fit you? I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah. Reality check.
Yeah. So, that was something that always stuck with me. It was just a moment that stuck with me. I don't think that it's ever made me feel some kind of way after that. It made me feel some kind of way towards Candace from Kansas, but I'm over it, And so we don't need to take everything with us whenever we, we grow. We can use it as a learning, like a moment of learning. I could have like tore her ass up with some other, like some other words. I could have went like full WWF promo on her,
right?
But I didn't do that. That wasn't how I roll. I don't swag like that. So obviously, it's not nice to make fun of people, and that's something that I'm making sure that my son now, he's only a couple years old, but
no bullying,
and also being a good sharer.
Yeah,
right. You got to learn how to share. So I think that.
Well, he has a great male role model in his life, Sam.
I'm trying, and this is part of why we're doing this damn thing,
right?
The podcast, because it's forcing us to kind of keep this stuff in check.
Yeah.
Right. And so sharing these stories, I appreciate
this is my
you
therapy,
sharing that.
bro.
We're curious to find out about you. Is there a story in your life that has kind of stuck with you? Is there a story in your life?
Did you break a seat?
That I've got one for you for the next time. I mean,
All right,
breaking a seat. A story in your life that made you go, shit, I need to change the trajectory of my life or where I'm going. If there's a story like that you want to share with us, leave it in our inbox on Instagram. Leave it in our inbox on Facebook. Leave it on our YouTube channel underneath this podcast here. We'll be able to go back and look at them. And we want to share your thoughts and feelings on our podcast. You guys are part of the community. So we want to share that because your experience may help someone else in an experience that they haven't had yet, right? So they might be better prepared for a situation coming in the future.
We want to hear your story. We want you to contribute.
We'll be right back.
Hey, wrestling fans. On Friday, February 25th, UFO Wrestling returns to Malden, Massachusetts at the Irish American Club, located at 177 West Street. Tickets are just $15 and the doors open at 7 p.m. See you there. Hey everybody, I just wanted to introduce myself. My name is Patrick Dillon, and I'm currently running for the mayor of South Boston, which is a fundraiser event benefiting the St. Patrick's Day Parade. Every dollar raised is counted as a vote. Please consider donating to my campaign and make me the mayor of South Boston.
You're listening to Wrestling with Weight. Now back to your hosts, Sam Amato and Mike Body.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for our main event of the episode. Hey guys, welcome back, and we are ready for the main event. Ladies and gentlemen, our guest for this episode, he's a friend of mine going on 20 years, if we haven't already hit the 20-year mark. A wrestling veteran, a fitness enthusiast, and a sports maniac. A Boston native, and now he's deep in the woods of Maine. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Boston bad boy, Jason Rumble.
I'm the backyard bad boy, yeah. The backwoods bad boy. How we doing, fellas?
Thanks for coming on the show, man.
Oh, brother, I love it. I can't wait to talk a little fitness, a little sports. It all sides itself hand in hand together.
Now, I'm going to be honest. It didn't take much to think of you as a guest, but it was Mike all the way. Mike said, we need to get Jason on the show.
Immediately.
Jason would be a great interview. And, of course, what am I going to say? No? You're my homie. I was in your wedding. I know your kids. I know your family. I was there when you met your wife. Right? Yeah. I remember when you were a manager at Lids in downtown Boston, right? And I was just a kid doing backyard trying to get in the business, and you would give me your ear. Yeah. So we're super happy to have you on the show. Let's talk a little bit about wrestling first. Jason, you're still active. How old are you now? How long you've been active? And why do you keep doing what you do?
I will be 50 years old on July 18th. I started wrestling right before my 25th birthday, so I'm celebrating 25 years in this great sport. I've probably had a couple of matches since the pandemic, but I have a little what you call it going on. Maybe in July, looks like I'm going to be going to Canada, and it's going to be my farewell tour. I said when I was 50 years old that I think that being active at this was good enough for me. And I think with the pandemic, seeing I fell in love with my real life. I realized that, that was I made an oath to be married, to be a good, faithful husband, a great husband, and not only that, but I always yearned to be a great dad. And I think that just stepping aside from not being active in pro wrestling since the pandemic, I really don't think about it much. I just want to get it done with and go out on my own and not have some cold dictate what had to be.
I hear you. So you started 25 years ago. Wow, you trained right here in Malden, Massachusetts. That's right?
Yep, Killer Kowalski's, right above the hair salon. No longer there now.
Was Mike Hollow the head coach at the time?
No, the headmaster at the time when I realistically went in, Mike was like getting his way there, but it was more or less like Baldo, who's now Matt Bloom,
Yep,
Steve King, and Mike ran Saturday classes when I was there, but he was more or less there for himself, Tim McNeely, and some of the older veterans to get over. And if you were good enough to get in there with them, you got over.
And so there are names that you mentioned there that a lot of people aren't going to recognize, and we'll just let people know that many of those names that you just mentioned are in the New England Wrestling Hall of Fame. And Mike Hollow in particular is pretty well known for being one of the best coaches in the industry. He's had a hand in having Tommaso Ciampa on WWE, having Mercedes Martinez, who is Sasha Banks, having Kofi Kingston on having a hand in.
Incredible.
Yep. Ivar, who is one of the
Viking
Raiders on Monday Night Raw. So he's had a touch. Listen, we'll get there.
Yeah.
He's had a touch, right? And because Todd, also known as Ivar, was the head coach at Chaotic. But we know where he came from first. We know. All right, so what can you tell us about the class that you were with? Because there's a lot of guys that are in your class that I would consider some of the best in the industry. And Mike and I, being big wrestling fans, we know that there's a lot of influence in WWE that comes from New England.
My biggest influence from like the New England area.
Well, when you were in that class, who was in the class with you?
Yeah,
it was me. It was
Kowalski still active?
Walter. We were the last class that Walter legitimately got in there and like
put some moves on it?
Yes, exactly. It was myself, Wagner Brown, Luis Ortiz, Damon D'Angelo, Bo Douglas, and I'd have to say that smooth operating gangster Trey Lanzo out of Malden, Massachusetts, another indie guy. Trey would say, if he was here right now, that the best class to realistically come out of Walter's class was the class I was involved in.
Having my own personal experience with all of you, I couldn't agree more. So, 25 years, you've done a lot of things, including becoming the NWA middleweight or cruiserweight champion. Is that
World Junior Heavyweight Champion on 3 different occasions.
Awesome.
And I had the honor and privilege of Stevie Carino in Danbury, Connecticut, on the day of my birthday, who flew in from a Japanese tour at the time was the NWA World Heavyweight Champion, decided to do a screw job finish where I actually became the NWA World Heavyweight Champion for about 2 minutes and 39 seconds.
How did that feel, though?
Brother, to hear a friend such as Mark Green, the Big Stick, who knew it was going to go over to go, and new NWA World Heavyweight Champion. Like, brother, it was my favorite belt. It was fire. It was fire.
You've also done many tours, including most recently, you've done a ton in Nova Scotia and Canada. You've gone down south. You also had a stint in the early days of TNA, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
So you've had the opportunity to wrestle with some of the best. Is there anyone that sticks out in your head as one of your favorite matches that people might recognize? A name or
Teddy
somebody
Hart.
that was pretty
Teddy Hart.
Okay.
Teddy Hart by far is no matter what anybody wants to say about Teddy and his legality issues as a human, Teddy Hart by far is the best pro wrestler, bar none, that I've ever been in the ring with. And I got to wrestle my hero, Bob Backlund. Jimmy Superfly Snuka looked at me and goes, no, brother, you fly tonight, when he was my tag team partner. And Teddy Hart, locking horns with him 4 different times. Nothing like it.
Awesome. We're going to kind of switch gears super quick because
brother.
This show is about wrestling and it is about health and wellness.
Cool.
Fitness has been a thing for you ever since I can remember. From you asking me to run to A&C, our local nutrition store, the only one that you need, A&C here in Everett, to us being on the road and finding a gym, to the fast food restaurant dinners that we were having where you were taking the bread off the meat and just eating just the meat and just trying to find ways to eat clean. What has fitness meant to you and your body, and how do you think it has influenced how you feel right now?
All right. So fitness, when you get to the fitness side of it, I want to tell people this, that I was at my heyday. I was such a fitness junkie. My wife, who just walked by, she'll attest to this. My honeymoon revolved around making sure there was a gym in every town that I went to when we went to the Cape for a week. And I had to get my 2 hours in. I've always been a guy, vacation-wise. There was no time off. And yeah, man, it was just what got me mentally was knowing that when I first worked at Mike's Gym, selling memberships and having to tell people this ain't about January 1st and it's a New Year's resolution. You got to understand, when you sign this contract, you're signing a contract that is something that is a lifestyle. Fitness and health is a lifestyle. It's not a pick thing that you just go to Walmart and say, hey, get me in shape. It's a lifestyle.
It's a mindset. Yeah, it's a mindset. It's definitely a lifestyle change. Now, opposed to, like you said, back in the day, how you used to work out all the time, what's your workout routine like now? What's your diet like now today at 50 years old?
I'm ashamed of myself when it comes to that.
Hey, it's tough. It's tough.
You know, like I said, the pandemic hit.
The wrestling challenge.
Yep. You know, when the pandemic hit, and I'm going to say it. It was one of the most I felt like a ton of bricks had finally dropped to the ground, because I revolved my life around having mentally that I had to look a specific way each and every time. When I hit when my music hit, when the entrance opened, it all mattered. And my life,
being a wrestler,
my life revolved around revolved around it. When this hit, I said to myself, you know what? I'm taking a few months off. I'm going to eat. I'm going to drink.
25 pounds easy during the pandemic.
Bro,
man, maybe more.
I went in 1 year. I went in 1 year from weighing legit 180, going back to my doctor a year later through the pandemic, and I was 225 fucking. I mean, couldn't believe it.
It was awkward going back to work after that and then seeing people's faces filled in with the mask. You're like, ooh.
And what's pathetic about it is I was just watching people work out. And like I said, to me, it was like wrestling is why I needed that suit of armor. But
you
now,
phenomenal. He always had great shoulders. Your arms always jacked. He always had great posture. He always had great legs. He was a small guy, but he was built fucking solid. Pardon my French. And he always looked great. He was always wearing kind of like boxer style trunks where they're they're tight bikers that we call them bikers with kick pads or boots, baby oil, tanned up, just always ready to go, hair slicked, ready to go. As soon as the music hit, dun 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Where's the Jay-Z track? Whatever it was.
Oh, yeah, what
BBB was looking phenomenal. He's
Real
always one of the
quickly,
best looking guys on the card.
How did you go about picking your theme music? How'd you what's up with
All
that?
right,
How'd you settle on a rock song?
when I went out to Metallica Human, I'll never forget. I was with this dude Derek, and he was my workout partner, and we're coming home from the Woburn World Gym where I had one of my wrestling schools, and he puts on Metallica S&M, and Human comes on, and all I hear is dump, 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 and I'm just in my brain is wrestling 24/7. And all I hear is Vince McMahon or JR going, and that's one bad boy. He's Jason Rumble on his. And that's what I thought of. And I was like, this is me. He pulls up in front of my house. I hit eject on his CD player. I steal his CD. I say, yo, bro, this is my ring music. I'll give it back to you someday. And I bounced out of his car. Jay-Z public service announcement. I was working at the Boston Sports Club in Linfield, and every night I used to put 98.5 the Sports Hub on because I would work operations after being a personal trainer to make more money. And the Damon Amendolara show used to come on. And I used to hear this, bam, 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 down, 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 bam, 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 and I just always wanted to trot. And I'm a rhymer, like Muhammad Ali behind me. Jason Rumble floats like a butterfly, stings like a bee. You rumble, young man, rumble, and that's all. That's all I think about. You know what I mean? I've always, and it's just like when the music hit me, it was a perfect time. I did so much that I believe Sam might have been at the show that a band came, played the music, and I rapped my own verse coming to the ring, and Mike McCarthy wanted to kill me.
Oh, man. All right, so working out. What type of music do you like listening to when you were working out? What's the type of music that you listen to when you worked out?
You know what? It depends on the day. Some days I don't even like music. I'd rather put on ESPN or listen to the Boston NBC Sports Boston and listen to Felger and Maz.
So what type of training was your favorite? What type obviously there's strength training, there's running, there's powerlifting, there's boxing, there's variety. What was your choice?
I'd like to say that I mixed a lot of things, Sammy. I didn't like doing regular cardio, so I would set up like 10 to 15 different 1-minute exercises that I would blast myself through. Yeah, and I would, once I got used to it, I'd go through it twice, like shadow with 5-pounders. Drop them, grab a medicine ball, do the water, skull crush.
Mike, at one point, Jay and I were partners at a wrestling school that now Bo Douglas is the head trainer and the owner of the facility.
Really? That's
but it's called the Belltime Club. At that time, we were in Everett, upstairs or behind what used to be White Hen, which is now 7-Eleven, and behind the Cold Cut Factory. We're on the second floor. We had one room that was the ring, and then Jay insisted that the other room be a weightlifting room. Okay. And so Jay had brought in some equipment. I don't even know where he got it, but he had a couple of cable machines, some dumbbells, had a mirror set up. So it was set up like in a legitimate facility and trained people there. He trained people there more than I did.
Yeah. How long did you have that going for?
We were in it for a little while, and then Jay was moving, and I was on to a different project, and the other guy that was one of our partners was going to Afghanistan, and Jay stuck with it for a while.
Yep.
And then they switched hands, and Bo Douglas became the head trainer, and it moved to Wakefield.
Okay. Nice. So you guys both enjoyed doing that, I'm assuming, right?
I did a lot of people when they would watch me work out in gyms, they would just stand back. It was different. It would jump and rope for a minute, drop it, go and do some perfect push-ups, 1 minute, drop it, grab a medicine ball, plyo ladder, 60 seconds in and out. But it would be 15 really hard things that would get me sweating, get tie-dye on my shirt, get my elevated heart rate going, the whole 9 yards.
When you were on the road training and you were working out, was there anyone you worked out with in particular that stuck out to you that oh, holy shit, like this guy fucking works out?
Do you know, I tell people this all the time. I was never a partner guy when I worked out because mentally I always thought somebody was trying to take my spot. And I didn't want nobody to know my tricks or what I did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But if people sat there with my boys and said, I want to work out with you today, I would warn them. I'd be like, listen, my workout might not be for you. You know, and I used to, like, when I was done sweating for half hour, 45 minutes, people go, so what do you do for weight training? And I go, come on, now we're going to do about 30 to 45 supersets with tower down at the end. And everything in between, I would pick push-ups and crunches, so I never rested.
All right, so we know that the fitness part is super important for you to be able to build muscle, for you to look a certain way. But more important than just the exercise that you're doing or the training that you're doing is the nutrition. Talk to us a little bit about what your diet was like, what your favorite things were to eat, and how you think, how important you think that is to anyone trying to get started in their fitness journey.
Huge. If you want to perform like a race car, you got to eat like a race car. You know, I'm OCD, so I'm a very creature of habit. For a 6 month span, it was a flip flop every other day for breakfast, where either it was always fruit with dry, unsweetened oatmeal with the tall bottle of Poland Spring water, or I would have egg beaters with 3 slices of turkey bacon and mandarin oranges. So it was always a flip at breakfast. You know, lunch, it was realistically a protein shake, egg. I used to have hard-boiled eggs all the time, so I would just eat eggs. And at night, it was what I wanted to eat. I would work out and wrestle, and yeah, at night it was what I wanted to eat. I always felt that if I kept the Michael Phelps mentality that was long before known, that if you want to eat it, you got to burn it. And the other thing is Sam will tell you, what would you rather eat? Would you rather have a can of soda or would you rather have a slice of pizza?
Well, here you go. Did you used to get the late night munchies?
So it's the empty calories, buddy. The one thing I learned about munchies at night, because I'm a 420 guy, and that was therapeutic. And sitting there, fruit snacks. Welch's,
the Welch's fruit snacks, dude. I got a fucking box and a half upstairs right now.
Oh, buddy,
destroy after this interview.
Yes, Welch's fruit snacks was a huge thing, and I used to keep no-fat yogurts, and I would eat that.
I wanted to talk to you about, I wanted Mike, and I'm actually very interested myself to hear this because I've never had this conversation with you. You've known me a very long time. You knew when I was 420-pound Sam, and you knew when I was lean 270-pound Sam, when I was getting ready for the bodybuilding competition that I was doing, and you've wrestled both guys. Is there anything that stands out for you? Is there anything that, that really was different between those two Sams that you can remember?
Oh, my God. When you lost the weight, you were so much quicker.
So much quicker.
and even though when you got smaller, you was fucking stiffer.
Sorry, bro.
That
What about-
palm
what about-
strikes?
Yeah,
Palm
that's
strikes
right.
was like I used to throw you in a locker or take your milk money at Everett High or something. I'm like, what
I
the?
gave these palm strikes to the stomach like chops. And one of our last matches that we had was in Malden for UFO.
Okay, awesome.
And it was a great match. I had a lot
Pat
of
Dillon,
fun.
the man.
That's right.
I always had fun with my boys.
Yeah.
The one thing that is so funny, we're on a road trip one time, and Sam, we're like, so what are we getting to eat? Everybody in the truck. And Sam, just in all seriousness, goes, listen, brother, we're pulling over and getting cheeseburgers. Anywhere you go, if they fuck up a cheeseburger, and you don't go back there. How can you fuck up a cheeseburger? And I would say that to him all the time, but that was just, he said it in the most seriousness. Like that, everybody has a go-to, brother. Cheeseburgers are fine. We used to toss the buns all the time. But Sam's right. It's just like going to a sandwich store that doesn't know how to serve a ham and cheese. You know not to go back there.
Right. Jay and I, again, we've known each other for so long. It's different places. We traveled together a lot because we were working for NWA on Fire in Maine, and we would do 2 to 3 day shots. And so we'd be in the hotel room together. We'd be watching the show at night. We'd be home after the Friday night show, and we could watch ourselves live on TV. It was crazy. But we had a lot of good times, and I can tell you a million different times that we've eaten together. He was eating clean, and Sam was not eating clean. Mm-hmm. So just to going back to the fitness, having control over what you're putting into your body. I think what you said there was perfect. If you want to look like a race car, you want to perform like a race car, you need to eat like a race car. That's perfectly said.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Drink lots of water.
Can we talk about a taboo subject super quick?
Yeah, go right ahead.
I want to talk to you about your steroid use or your experience with steroids or your experience using hormones. Can you share a little bit with us what you thought you were gaining from that, and then after your experience, do you think it was worth it? And it's okay to be honest. First off, we're not condoning the use of growth hormone, steroids, or anything of that nature, but this conversation is one that we should be having. And you were somebody who was trying to become the best at what you can be, and you felt like you needed just to take
assistance,
the next level, or push the envelope because you were trying to play on the even playing field, right? If everyone else is using something similar, right? Which we can't say they all were, but if you know that a lot of dudes are because the conversations are had in the locker room, then you're going to have to try to push the envelope too to even catch up.
The one big thing that stuck out in my mind all the time is what Walter said. If you want to be taken serious, you need to look serious. If you want the fans to take you seriously, you've got to give them something that says, okay, that guy can beat me up right there. And I was always the type of, and when I got into wrestling, I wanted to prove everybody wrong. I wanted to prove my friends wrong. I wanted to prove my father wrong. And I knew, because of the quickness that I elevated at the beginning, that I took advice from people and I wasn't afraid. I knew I had, in order to walk with the giants, I had to get a giant mentality and I had to look that way. It was nothing different. You were watching it on TV with like Bill Romanowski and Shannon Sharp with this EAS product that was out, and Ico Pro. It was just relative. I was willing to dance with the devil in the pale moonlight. You know what I mean?
I think it's important to note that you can't just take a supplement and think it's going to work magically.
Oh, but that's what gave me the edge to work out even harder.
And so everything you had to do was eat clean, train hard, sleep, drink water, right?
Yes.
You couldn't just take the supplement and all of a sudden, these results appeared.
Absolutely
again,
not.
We're going to go back to saying that we're not condoning the use of steroids, but it's important to have these conversations because everyone's going to have their own experience. And It's health and wellness. It's not anything that's so taboo that we shouldn't talk about it. Some people just don't like talking about it. And we felt that you'd be okay.
Oh, yeah.
Mentioning it.
To really put it out there on the table like a crapshoot, I've taken more legal stuff over the counter from American Nutrition Center than any needle or handful of anabolic steroid. Let that truth be known.
Sure.
Whatever Pete and Steve threw up on that before I even knew you, Sam, I took their word. They knew what I was doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I took their word. I was the first to have the good drop deer antler with the testosterone additive, like the red velvet with the test. What was the trend that he gave me? Oh, I had the best shit ever. The anadrol, like on the anadrol that he had, that like the best shit in the world. You know what I mean? I didn't need to go anywhere else. Then the skull crushes that were sublingual under your tongue. Oh, brother.
All right. I think the message here, though, that we want to send to people is that consistency with your training.
Do it unless you're training and you need a reason to do it, not just to go to Revere Beach.
I'm going to go ahead and say, don't do it. I'm going to have
not
to
just to go to Revere Beach and say, "Hey, look, girls." If you ain't a pro at like trying to be like, it's just. And if you are trying to be know what you're doing. Consult with the doctor. Get with the trainer. And you know what I mean? Get with
Jason,
the right people.
We do got to wrap things up. We want to, thank you so much for sharing your story.
Man. We're going to have you back.
And the time. We're definitely going to have to have you back. Before we go, we want to get one little end segment here. Why don't you tell us where people can find you? You on Instagram? You're on Facebook?
I'm on Facebook, but realistically right now I'd like to just promote my YouTube channel, The Gorilla Position Network. And from there, we're expanding to Spotify and iTunes in the upcoming weeks. And you would just look for on that. It's the Gorilla Position Network, and it would be presents whatever segment I would have on. But right now, just YouTube, the Gorilla Position Network, and we go live every week with one or two different shows.
I want to wrap up with one wrestling question for you. All right? We're going to give you 30 seconds to answer this. You ready?
Yeah.
WWE or AEW? Go.
All right. I'm going to split this in half, and I'm going to tell you this right now. Pocket-wise, it'll be WWE because, number one, they just made the most money they have ever made in the history of the company. Okay? Number one. And number two, AEW is a totally different trend setting. They are wrestling, and WWE is sports entertainment that is more of Walt Disney World with ice capades, but in a professional wrestling sense.
All right. I like your answer. I'm also in the position that there's no reason for you to say one or the other. Why not watch both and enjoy both?
Whatever you enjoy.
My preference right now is Game Changer Wrestling. I've been watching it for 3 years. It's now gotten to the heightened part of what they're doing. But me, myself, as a wrestling fan, I watch GCW, but I talk about pro wrestling. I find nothing wrong with the WWE. I find nothing wrong with AEW. I even started watching Impact again because they put fans back in. And before the pandemic, Impact and Major League Wrestling, MLW, realistically had the best story programs on the wrestling. But people don't talk about that. You know what I mean?
I love it. I love that you mentioned all those brands and all those other promotions that are making an impact in wrestling. You're absolutely right. It's not just the top two guys. And I like your answer. There is a position where you can see both. Jason, once again, thank you so much for joining us.
You. Thank you for doing this for us.
We appreciate it.
That wraps up this podcast. I'm Mike the Body Buddy.
And I'm Sammy Smiles.
You can find us at the Instagram page at the Wrestling with Weight Podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll catch you next time.